Before we play this video, I want to give out this warning. What you're about to hear is the truth, and it's from Joe Biden. That's what makes it scary.
We're in a situation where we have put together, and you guys did it for our the President Obama's administration before this. We have put together, I think, the most extensive and inclusive voter fraud organization in the history of American politics.
I know, right? Hide your kids, hide your wives, hide everybody. Your boy actually said the truth. You know what? Before I continue this video, I'm gonna have to hit y'all with a disclaimer. Let me make sure I got my GPT chat opened up. I want to say this. Please note that the actions depicted in this video are for entertainment and educational purposes only. That's it, YouTube. We do not encourage or endorse the repetition of any of the activities shown in this content, which is why today we're doing more of a traditional reaction where we actually watch someone else's YouTube video. You know what I mean? I tried to get out of all that, just play clip, yada yada. But anyhow, because this topic is what it is, you definitely want to be careful. So we're gonna watch Facts Matter with Roman Ballot. I don't know how to say his last name. I apologize, man. But the jury finds election official guilty of mail-in ballot fraud. Wow, let's dissect this.
Odd happened. A Wisconsin state representative named Janelle Brandtjen. She opened her mailbox at home and she found 3 authentic mail-in ballots that were sent there. Quote, Representative Brandtjen received 3 authentic military ballots to her home addressed to Holly, a woman who has never lived there. Brandtjen believed this was part of a scheme to steal votes in Wisconsin. And as such, this state representative issued a public alert, which included a photo of the 3 ballots that she received. You can see them up on your screen. An official investigation was then launched by the Waukesha County Sheriff's Department, and after several days of investigating, they discovered that these ballots were not sent by mistake. Instead, it was Miss Kimberly Zapata who had requested them by using fake aliases. Here's specifically how it's laid out in the criminal complaint. And just for your general reference, during this period of time, in November of 2022, Ms. Zapata was serving as the deputy director of the Election Commission over in the city of Milwaukee. Quote, on the morning of October 25th, Ms. Kimberly Zapata made up 3 names with fake social security numbers and requested military absentee ballots in those names through My Vote Wisconsin, the state's voter database. Meaning that one morning, approximately 2 weeks before the actual election day, Ms. Zapata went into the state's public-facing website, typed in 3 fake names, 3 fake social security numbers, and that was it. That was all that it took to have real, actual military absentee ballots to be sent to the address that she typed in.
Now that should be alarming no matter what side of the fence you're on, the left or the right. This should scare you.
Which might sound shocking to you until you realize that, quote, under Wisconsin law, someone requesting a military absentee ballot does not need to register to vote or provide any photo ID to obtain an absentee ballot. Any request automatically results in a ballot being issued, meaning that this was not a glitch. And this was not something that was only made possible by the fact that Ms. Zapata was a high-ranking election official in the state. Instead, this is just how the system in Wisconsin works. Anyone, they can log in, enter some information, real or fake, and that's it. Their mail-in ballots will arrive within several business days. It's a truly amazing system. Now,
makes no sense.
You might be asking yourself and wondering why in the world would she do this? And even more specifically, why would Miss Kimberly Zapata, who was an election official, mail these absentee ballots to the home of a Republican state representative, especially a representative who at one time was trying to decertify the 2020 election results? And this is where the story takes a bit of an odd twist, because according to the criminal complaint, here is what apparently happened. Quote, the Milwaukee Election Commission's executive director sent Ms. Zapata an article on Monday about someone applying for military ballots and sending them to State Representative Janelle Brandtjen. She sent Zapata a statement from Brandtjen in which Brandtjen remarked about how easy it was to receive military ballots, to which Zapata responded, she has a point. Ms. Zapata then told the Election Commission executive director on Tuesday that she created the fake voters and had the ballots sent to the lawmaker to show how easy it is to commit fraud in this manner.
Mind you, she literally just admitted it, y'all. just to prove this point right here.
Zapata did this because she wanted to make a point that there is fraud in existence. She stated she wanted the truth to come out so that they could focus on actual problems. And so what happened, allegedly, was that the executive director of the election department showed an article to the deputy director, Ms. Zapata, about someone making these fake requests for mail-in ballots and being successful at it. Ms. Zapata looked at the article, and then the subsequent day, she said to her boss that she was the one who did it. She herself requested these 3 mail-in ballots using a fake name and sent those ballots to Representative Branchen, who I should mention at this time was the co-chair of the State Assembly's Election Commission. And so she's the woman who could actually affect some change. Ms. Zapata informed her boss that she was the one who did this. And so this is exactly why this particular case is so odd. Because even though technically Ms. Zapata did commit ballot fraud, she was doing it to viscerally prove that ballot fraud was possible. As the deputy director of the election department, she was sending these ballots to the co-chair of the state legislature's election commission. And so there's really 2 ways to look at it. On the one hand, by the letter of the law, she did commit a crime. But on the other hand, she was attempting to expose a problem. Sort of like when you have a manager at a company call up that company's customer service line in order to expose potentially bad service.
Now, listen, I don't encourage anybody to break the law to any extent. However, a woman in her position having to prove that the system that's put in place for her position to be able to operate comfortably is actually not efficient, I will give her a pass for that for sure, especially since she's going around and making sure that everyone know it was her. If she told somebody prior to doing that, I don't know. But the proof is all in the pudding. The fact that she was able to prove to them that in her own department how easy it is for ballots to be accumulated without any real sort of vetting.
And so in this scenario, what do you do? Well, I don't know what you would do, but the city of Milwaukee, well, they threw the book at Ms. Zapata. To start with, as soon as the criminal complaint was made public, the mayor of Milwaukee, Mr. Cavalier Johnson, he came out, he gave a public press conference saying this in part, quote, "I will not tolerate and certainly will not defend any misrepresentation by a city official involved in elections. It does not matter to me that this might have been an effort to expose a vulnerability that state law created."
And that's why I don't, you know what, I'm gonna stop pausing a lot after this, but that's why I can't mess with you, brother, right there.
Is a blatant violation of trust, and Ms. Zapata was fired immediately. Furthermore, aside from being fired by the city, prosecutors have been pursuing their case against Ms. Zapata for the past 1.5 years now, charging her with 1 felony count of misconduct in public office alongside 3 misdemeanor counts of election fraud, 1 for each mail-in ballot. Now, during the actual trial, the defense lawyer tried to argue that Ms. Zapata was essentially a whistleblower, and she did not mean to hurt anyone. But on the flip side, you had the assistant district attorney say that Ms. Zapata went rogue and broke the law. Quote, "She is not a whistleblower. She's not exposing information. She's committing election fraud. As a society, we cannot tolerate people who break the law when there are multiple legitimate means to raise those same concerns." And indeed, as I mentioned at the top of today's episode, just last week, a jury agreed with the prosecution and they found Ms. Zapata guilty on all 4 counts. She now faces a maximum of 5 years behind bars, although her actual sentencing is scheduled for May the 2nd, which is a little over a month from now. But actually, regardless of how many years or months she gets behind bars, as a convicted felon in the state of Wisconsin, Ms. Zapata will now be, among other things, prohibited from ever being able to carry a gun, as well as prohibited from ever serving in an elected office.
Wow.
But here's the best part in all of this. Despite the resources, the time, the energy, and all the money that the local government has spent pursuing this case, the actual problem that Ms. Zapata was trying to highlight was never addressed. They successfully pursued charges against her for the past 1.5 years, but to this very day, anyone can still head on over to the public-facing My Vote Wisconsin website.
That don't make no
they
sense.
can order as many absentee military ballots as they wish, which might actually help to explain why the whole whistleblower argument did not work. Because the problem isn't that the officials in Wisconsin aren't aware of the loophole, it just seems that they are perfectly okay with it. If you'd like to go deeper into the details of this particular case, I'll throw the links to my research notes. You can find them down in the description box below this video. And also, I'd love to know your thoughts. Do you think that Ms. Zapata was a genuine whistleblower in the state of Wisconsin who was just trying to get this loophole fixed? Do you think that the judgment against her was fair? Or do you believe that the state was correct to pursue the charges against her to the very end because she did, after all, break the letter of the law? I'd love to know your thoughts. Please leave them in the comments section below. I'll be reading through them this weekend as well as I'm
going to be honest, even though I said I personally would, give her a slap on the wrist, which would not be okay in many people's eyes, I will say this. She knew the risks of what she was doing. So we're going to say that she knew the risk of what she was doing. However, this risk in my opinion, is patriotic. She went there to prove to her own office that, hey, we have this loophole that is definitely going to be an issue for us. And the fact that they're only pursuing criminal charges against her in less than a month, we'll get the verdict on what they decide to do. Instead of they're continuously pursuing charges on her without pursuing or trying to fix the actual issue that she was addressing. That should definitely raise some eyebrows for sure. Whistleblower, she was definitely a whistleblower. And while other methods could have been used, this was effective. And I think that the results alone should be able to carry, regardless of the act and everything that it took for her to get the result. I think the results in this situation should be looked at and carefully reevaluated. I don't think that she should not be prosecuted personally, since no one actually submitted the ballots, no fraud was committed. And I'm thinking, if she was using an address, only that one address, if yes, then she's probably exposing something that they are mad at her for exposing, right? But if she sit to different places, I'm saying, man, if you break the law, you break the law, you deal with the consequences. But she may have broken the letter. She may have broken the law, for sure, the letter of the law, right? But she's definitely followed the spirit and intent of the law. And I think that has to be looked at as well. The fact that the reasoning behind her actions would to prove things just ain't right within the system in which we're using to get these ballots. And then people, you really got to look at it like this. She got fired for trying to expose ways that people can swing. I don't even want to say the word. You start with selections. I mean, it rhymes with selections. My fault, y'all. I'm fumbling the play. But yeah, she was there to expose the bad parts about the system that they're using, and they're literally over here like, you know what, we're gonna ignore that, we're just gonna chase after you, we're gonna ruin your reputation, make sure you can't carry a firearm, make sure you can't work in no government official position ever again. These are very drastic measures, and she's also facing up to 5 years. Mind you, the ballots wasn't even filed. The crime technically wasn't committed yet. Although obviously the intent to was, there's that, but of course that's the outcome. They don't fix the problem, just jail the people that expose them and their incompetence. That's literally all they do. Now here it says, the attorney says Zapata, I believe this is how you say her name, which she was found guilty, had good intentions. Daniel Adams, one of Ms. Zapata's attorneys, claimed his client saw herself as a whistleblower trying to expose vulnerabilities in the voting system and didn't mean to hurt anyone. He argued her actions were driven by personal and professional stress and were meant to highlight an actual problem. Ms. Zapata claimed she sent the ballots to Ms. Brent, I don't know how you say these names, bro. I'll be fumbling to play on these names. Y'all got it. Because she knew the ballots wouldn't be cast and to highlight the issue of potential election fraud. Quote, she is the most vocal election fraud politician that I know of, and I thought that maybe this would make her stop and think and redirect her focus away from these outrageous conspiracy theories to something that's actually real. Miss Zapata, end quote, Miss Zapata said. Y'all forgive me, I went to school, okay? But then we have assistant district, where'd my earphone go? My fault. Then we have assistant district attorney Matthew Westfall argued that Ms. Zapata went rogue with her actions and that by not sharing her concerns with state election officials, reporters, or legislators, she broke the law. And that's what I really wish she would have did, just to give somebody a tip as to what's happening. So once all this hit the fan, you wouldn't have everybody being as dramatic as they are in terms of not actually focusing on the issue, but just going after her to jail her. Quote, she is not a whistleblower. She is not exposing information. She's committing election fraud, end quote, he said during his closing arguments. Quote, as a society, we cannot tolerate people who break the law when there are multiple legitimate means to raise those same concerns, end quote. Now, although I do agree that you should go the correct route of trying to expose these type of things, sometimes, bro, you're gonna have to just put it right in their face. I mean, imagine somebody sitting here and telling you this system is legit, and then you go, you know what? let me do some not so legitimate shit to the system, and you find out that it don't hold up as much as they've been advertising. Like, yeah, bro, now she gotta go to jail over that shit. I don't know, man. I'm gonna just say it like this. Honestly, I really wish that she would have went to the legitimate route. For the sake of exposing the truth, you already know we're on the side of that all day, every single day. So, you know, what's happening to her, I will say, is unfortunate, but she knew the risk. So salute to her for being a patriot. And CNN actually released a video a while ago, because Don Lemon is on here. Yes, Don Lemon. I know that's a joke in itself. But they released it. They released a bit with Roger Stone, and there's some footage obtained by the January 6th committee, and it's pertaining to the, I don't even want to say the word. It rhymes with selection this year. All right, just use your mind.
It was Roger Stone. This is on July 9th, 2020. This was recorded by Stone's assistant during COVID and provided to you. Here it is.
What they're assuming is that the election will be normal. The election will not be normal. Oh, these are the California results? Sorry, we're not accepting them. We're challenging them in court. If the electors show up at the Electoral College, armed guards will throw them out. I'm the president. You. You're not stealing Florida. You're not stealing Ohio. I'm challenging all of it, and the judges we're going to are judges I appointed. You. You're not stealing the election. That's basically what Bush did to Gore. So, you know, if they want to run a bunch of fake ballots, we'll have an investigation. We'll say, these ballots are fake. Yep. Your results are invalidated. Goodbye. That's the way it's going to have to work. Wow. It's going to be really nasty. Wow. But you cannot count on, we're not going to get an honest election. Right. So let's say that Trump is a little behind right now, which he probably is. That doesn't bother me, but even if he wins an honest election, we're not going to have an honest election. Got it. They're going to steal it. They're stealing us blind in Florida right now. So, you know, it's not the first time it's happened in this country, and it happens around the world. Yeah. So he's going to have to fight for the presidency in the courts. Our next election will be decided in the courts. Wow. Because they cheat, and we don't cheat. Yeah. We've never.
It's hella ironic that he said that we're going to have to fight the system, essentially, to change this habit of people not being in office legitimately through the courts. And you see what's going on with Trump, and we see what's happening with this woman right here. This man was literally right. Mind you, this was on CNN. Sheesh.